Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take the top stories in cryptocurrency and digital assets and break them down to bite-sized pieces. Today, it's all about mass adoption and institutions. So first up, Square's Cash App Bitcoin revenue surges 600% to $875 million in Q2. Profit is up massively. And this is going to lead us into our next article, which talks about PayPal and how they will also be getting into cryptocurrency. Also, there's a new billion-dollar company investing in Bitcoin. How amazing is that? It's because institutions are finally coming in because there's so much going on with our space, which will lead us to our last article. And I think one of the big stories of the day is that Bitcoin is set for a bull run that will dust NASDAQ as Ethereum, XRP, and other altcoins face an uphill battle, which is stated by a Bloomberg forecast, which is very highly detailed, which will go over the cliff notes, but it's all really coming together. And finally, this is day 3 of our $100 Ethereum giveaway. So stay for the end, and we'll be giving away $100 worth of Ethereum at the very end. But first, let's take a look at the market. So it is August 7th, around 12:20 Texas time, and a little bit of a pullback, which is healthy. I am glad to see this because I got to tell you, when things go up too fast, too quickly, it just doesn't really set well with me. So Bitcoin down 3%, now at a paltry 11.4. That's not so bad. Ethereum 371. I thought it was going to top out at 400, but here we are. So a little bit of pullback. I'm okay. XRP 28 cents. Watch out. Tether's Tether. Bitcoin Cash. Sure. Cardano down pretty big. 6%. Now it's at 13 cents. Bitcoin SV again. Litecoin. Chainlink. Everything's down. Down. Ooh, what's this? 10% for Tezos. Ugh. What are you going to do? So that's cryptocurrency. Now I got to tell you, if you're in the traditional market and you're just coming in, welcome. This is a normal day. Some people call this a massive drop-off. We call this a Friday. So if you are just coming in, hold on to your seat because it's about to get bumpy. All right, before we get into today's big stories, I need to go over something from yesterday. And I just wanted to make a quick correction because everybody had told me some information I wasn't aware of. So this is a story we did yesterday. This is Scott Melker. He's known as the Wolf of All Streets on Twitter, a pretty prolific trader. He talks about how he fell victim to a SIM swap attack. And basically what he says is he doesn't use text message two-factor authentication. What he uses is the Google 2FA, which is an app that you can download on your phone. And what he does is he keeps it on another device. And he says, he keeps it offline. So for the Google 2FA, usually it's only available for mobile devices. And when I tried to download it on my MacBook, it was not available in the App Store. But from what a lot of people have told me, they have downloaded it on their tablet. So if you have a tablet, this is probably an easier way to store your Google 2FA. And I will link this video from yesterday in the final part of this video today, so you can take a look at it. But basically what it is we're going to use the Google 2FA. You can have it on your phone or you can have it on your tablet. I don't think you can use it on your computer unless you download some specialty types of apps, but I'm not into that. And that was it. So thanks everybody who let me know about that. That is fantastic information. Let's get into today's stories. So first up, Square's Cash App has a massive revenue, which is not surprising. So what's going on? So Square released its performance report, Q2 2020, on Tuesday, and the company's net revenue, including Bitcoin revenue, was $1.92 billion. So hey, good for them, making some money, which is an increase of 64% year over year. Now the Cash App, Square's popular payment service, achieved a gross profit of $281 million. Up 167% from last year. So looks like even in the down market, what's going on with the economy, I would say, they are still doing pretty well. So congratulations to Jack Dorsey, Twitter founder and also founder of Square. Looks like he's not doing too bad. But here's where it gets interesting for us. It says here, excluding Bitcoin, Cash App's revenue for Q2 2020 was $325 million. That's up 140%. But in the second quarter last year, the app generated Bitcoin revenue of $125 million. Analyst Kevin Roke pointed out in a tweet that Square's second quarter Bitcoin revenue was almost 3x the volume of Q1 2020. So imagine that. You are a company and you just do normal payments, right? And all of a sudden, you have a great idea. We should just offer Bitcoin because maybe people might want to buy that. And Jack Dorsey is a huge believer into it. And they go, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll see how it goes. And then you double, triple, quadruple your profits. That's not too shabby of a resolution. So if you take a look like this, Square Bitcoin revenue by quarter, Bitcoin is accounting for a huge chunk of their revenue. So, of course, they make money on the payments and all those different things that they're doing, but the big thing is Bitcoin. So if they didn't have Bitcoin, half their revenue is gone. Well, maybe not half, somewhere between a third and a half, but it's a lot of money. I mean, just take a look at the chart here. I mean, it really doesn't matter percentage-wise. I mean, if you're making almost $1 billion, look, we're at 800 million here. This is Q2 2020. And we're almost hitting $1 billion, and it just keeps going up like this. I think other types of payment processors would look at this and be like, maybe we should get on this, because all we got to do is just offer this cryptocurrency. We may not believe in it. That might not be our core value, but we need to listen to what the consumer wants. And apparently, they want a lot of this thing called Bitcoin. And that is why I truly believe that PayPal is going to get in the game. Now, there's been rumors going around that PayPal is going to get into cryptocurrency, which would be fantastic because they have a ton of users, just like the Cash. So, I mean, if you have the Cash app, you have PayPal. Let's say some other type of like a Venmo gets into something like this as well. I mean, it's just sky's the limit. So I just don't see why PayPal would be like, you know what? We don't want an extra $1 billion. Our core principle is just fiat, and that's all we're going to do. So that's it. No, they're a company. They have to appease their shareholders. So you better believe when they're talking about cryptocurrency and it actually happening, it's going to happen. Do I know when? I have no idea when. But as a business, I can tell you right now, they're going to go for it. So speaking of mass adoption, let's take a look at the next article, which is talking about a $1 billion company is investing in Bitcoin. This is just one more of these institutional investors coming into the fray. So what's going on here? So on a recent earnings call, the $1 billion company, MicroStrategy, said that they were sitting on a $500 million cash reserve. That's always nice when that happens. But Chairman and CEO Michael Saylor said he doesn't think it's too smart to hold on to that much cash long term. And I got to tell you, that's kind of a different viewpoint than some people do. Some people, as far as investors go, they think cash is king. And I got to tell you, in certain ways, I do too, because I know that the dollar is weakening and there's different problems there, but as push comes to shove, regular cash is important to have on hand. It just is, because you can do a lot of things with it. So, but if these guys are like, you know what, we see the writing on the wall. We see the quantitative easing. We see the weakening dollar. We need to put this into something that will appreciate. And what usually can appreciate? Well, these different hard assets. So here's what the CEO states. He says, it makes sense to shift our treasury assets into some investments that can't be inflated away. Let me read that last part. That can't be inflated away. So that brings me to a little quick article from July 29th, Pantera Capital. And it talks about 2 centuries of debt in 1 month. I'm not going to go through the whole thing, just the first part here. And it says, the United States printed more money in June than in the first 2 centuries after its founding. Last month, the U.S. budget deficit, $864 billion, was larger than the total debt incurred from 1776 through the end of 1979. That's amazing. So here's the budget surplus or deficit. Not too bad. 1980, when it was supposed to be out of control. 95, well, it went in reverse, not too shabby. And then 2000, 2005, 10, and then the financial crisis. And here's 2020. So congratulations, America. You're number one again. This leads me to my next point, the dollar and its weakening status. So this was on July 29, 2020, and it states the U.S. dollar index has slipped nearly 7% in the last 3-month period. In fact, the index that measures the greenback against 6 of the major currencies is down nearly 9% from its March highs and is on track for its worst month since 2011. So I'm not an economist. I don't know exactly what's going to go on, but I can tell you when I look around, I don't see a lot of positives as far as the economy and what's happening with the dollar. Now, do I think that the U.S. dollar will lose its reserve currency status? I don't, but people bigger and smarter than me definitely do. But it remains to be seen, and we can only find that out as things unravel. But I will say this, it's kind of important to hedge your bets, and that's why I'm into cryptocurrency digital assets, because I believe that at some point we're going to need something other than the US dollar. All fiat in the history of the world has collapsed at one point or another. Do I think the dollar's going to collapse tomorrow? No. But I can see it weakening to a pretty poor status, and that's why I'd like to hold, or do hold, gold, silver, Bitcoin, and different amounts of altcoins, because I believe in them and what it's going to happen in the future. Anyhow, let's get back to the article. So, MicroStrategy, the company itself, is looking to put half of its $500 million cash reserve into alternative stores of value. Microsoft Strategy President and CFO Phong Le described the plan. He says, "We will seek to invest up to another $250 million over the next 12 months in one or more alternative investments or assets, which may include stocks, bonds, commodities, such as gold, digital assets, such as Bitcoin, or other asset types." I like how he said here, digital assets such as Bitcoin, not just saying Bitcoin only. So that leaves it open to a wide swath of interpretation. And I got to tell you, I don't see any other way why they wouldn't do digital assets, cryptocurrency, because, I mean, they're just one in a handful of investors or institutions that are coming in. I mean, look, we got Fidelity Digital Assets. They have like 7 trillion assets under management. You got TD Ameritrade with 1 trillion assets under management. You've got VanEck, which were huge gold bugs. And in January of this year, they came out and said, you know what, as good as gold is, Bitcoin's better, and they give you 7 different examples for it. And of course, the big guy, Paul Tudor Jones, which apparently is an investment legend in the 80s, early 90s, and he came out and said, look, I'm going to put in 2% of total investments into Bitcoin futures. And when you have these types of big places and big players going, we're going to do this, it opens the door for other investors and institutions to come in and say, you know what, if Paul Tudor Jones is doing it, if Fidelity's doing it, TD Ameritrade, all these guys are doing it, there's something to it, and we like to follow smart money. Anyhow, that's my thoughts on that. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Let's move on to our last juicy piece. Bitcoin set for a bull run that will dust NASDAQ as Ethereum, XRP, and altcoins face an uphill battle. This is a Bloomberg forecast, and I'm not going to go through the article. It's kind of boring. So what I'm going to do is just give you the highlights of where they got their source material from, which is the Bloomberg Crypto Outlook, which was just released in August. And let's take a listen, or let's take a look. I will link this in the description so you can take a look of it, look through it thoroughly. It's fascinating. The amount of time that these guys go through all these things and actually look at what's happening now, in the past, in the future, it's mind-blowing. And that's how I realized that my own shortcomings as far as the financial field, because I'm like, wow, I can't do that. So what's going on here? And they state, Bitcoin prudent, moving further from speculative digital asset. The potential that Bitcoin will be the primary crypto asset store of value in an increasingly digitalized world is gaining traction. And I got to tell you, when Bitcoin came out, it was all about being a currency, a peer-to-peer currency, decentralized. As time has moved on, people have realized it's not going to happen. So, I mean, you may think that's going to happen, and maybe it will. I don't know. Maybe technology will catch up. But right now, it is too slow. It is too expensive. And people can't, across the entire world, that many people, billions of people, can't adopt Bitcoin and make it function well. So look at 2017. We didn't have that many people, and the darn thing was hit its limits. So as far as a store of value, yes, I definitely see that, and I can see why it is. And I always say that Bitcoin is digital gold. So, this report kind of validates what my thinking was. Later on, it states here, Ethereum pop appears more speculative versus Bitcoin. Ethereum has extended last year's highs and leaped to one of the top performing major crypto assets in 2020. But we view its rally as more speculative versus the favorable demand versus supply conditions supporting Bitcoin. And again, I got to tell you, there are some people in this space that say Bitcoin is old and it is worthless. Don't invest into it. Just go into altcoins and whatever they talk about. And there's other people who say, you know what? All the altcoins are just there to steal your money, and it's only Bitcoin. And I have a hybrid approach. I think that everybody should own a little bit of Bitcoin because you never know. Nobody is Nostradamus here. No one can predict the future. If you can, please leave a comment in the comments section, and we'll get in touch. There's a lot of football games coming up. But in reality, no one can really predict. So I always feel like it's best to hedge my bet and put money into Bitcoin and different things like Ethereum, Cardano, Chainlink, Tezos, EOS, VeChain, all the different things that I think are going to do well. And so you can take a look at this and go, yeah, this is definitely going to happen or not. It just depends on where you think things are going to go. I think smart contracts, I think decentralized finance, I think oracles, and I think on-chain tracking are going to be big. So that's why I invest in what I invest into. Moving on, it says volatility, Bitcoin gaining upper hand versus gold. And this is pretty interesting because we'd always heard about, cryptocurrency is so volatile, but in here it talks about it's really not that bad. It says the lowest annual volatility level versus gold in about 3 years favors Bitcoin price appreciation. So I know there's a lot of gold bugs that are very happy right now. Gold is hovering around 2,000, which is fantastic. I think it'll hit up to 2,300. Who knows? But I believe that the savings account of the future is gold, silver, Bitcoin. Next up, it says Bitcoin to gold correlation on the rise. Though the 0.35 correlation of early August isn't high by normal standards, it's the trend that matters. And we can kind of see these things coupling in together. Do I think that'll be totally in sync? No, I do not. And I do believe that Bitcoin is going to eat into gold's $10.9 trillion market cap. I don't see any other way around it. If you're not familiar with this, I've talked about this many a time. This is the all the money in the world markets, and it goes from silver. Well, it says each square is worth 100 billion. So if you're looking at silver, that's just silver. Great. Cryptocurrency, here we are. That's at 244 billion. Military spending, budget deficit, coins and bank, the Fed's balance sheet, which is way higher, I believe now. Billionaires, they have 8 trillion. Look at these guys. $8 trillion between them. Fantastic. Good for them. Gold is at the very high end, or I guess the low end of the shallow pool at 11 trillion. Here's the Fortune 500 companies, which you got Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, and Facebook. The 20% that makes up the S&P 500, there they all are. And they got trillions. Here's the stock market, and they got 89.5 trillion. Here's the entire money supply, 35.2 trillion. Here's global debt, 253 trillion. And here's real estate at 280 trillion, but that's not even the big one. The big one right here is derivatives at 11.6 trillion. And maybe what we really talk about, this is the gross market value, the notional value, 558 trillion. And then if we're going to go down, this is the high-end estimate because no one really knows. It could be 1.0 quadrillion. So when we start talking about like how much Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, digital assets can really break into and eat away at the different markets, there's your answer. So when we start talking about 1 trillion, 2 trillion, 10 trillion market cap, people are like, that's insane. It's not insane. That's reality. We talk about quantitative easing and advancing gold. But again, this one kind of talks about and affirms what I was thinking about. The more quantitative easing, the different problems that we have, and people get nervous about it, the more gold and Bitcoin will go up. Lastly, it states mainstream Bitcoin adoption. Something needs to go wrong to end mainstream Bitcoin adoption. See, years ago, it wasn't like this. Years ago, it was, Bitcoin could just go away because, who's going to use it? It doesn't make any sense and people aren't adopting it. But right now, we're at that critical point where, and it's not even now, it's already passed. There's no way that Bitcoin's going to go away and go to zero. That's ridiculous. So when it talks about something needs to massively go wrong to mainstream adoption, they are really laying it out there and being the truth. And they state relative scarcity of the benchmark digital asset leaves adoption as the primary price outlook metric, and the indicators we track remain clearly positive, especially with the amount of scarcity that Bitcoin has, because it only has 21 million. So what are you going to do? And then to finish up, it does say Bitcoin addresses point towards 14,000. They say this is in the short term. And it states here one of the most robust on-chain indicators of Bitcoin adoption, which is addresses used, suggest a price or close to 14,000 versus about 11,000 on August 4th. So if you're looking at the short term, we could be seeing some fireworks, but who knows? And then lastly, it states Bitcoin 10,000 breach set to dust the NASDAQ. So fundamentally bullish and breaking above the key 10,000 resistance, Bitcoin has a solid foundation on the back of a steep correction and period of disdain. All-time highs in the index in July and the most extreme stretch above its 50-week mean in over a decade may indicate stock market buoyancy limits from quantitative easing, which more directly supports the price of quasi-currency stores of value. So I will link this in the description of the video. It's very in-depth, but those are the main points. And here's what I think. In the very end of the day, it's good if Bitcoin goes up because everything else goes up. When the water rushes into the harbor, which is the Bitcoin wave, all the boats go up, all the altcoins, and I'm ready for that. So hopefully that happens. All right, let's give away some money, huh? So Unstoppable Domains, I partnered up with them. They reached out to me and said, hey, we'd like to give your subscribers some money. And I was like, sure, I'm sure they'd like to do that. So in today's economy, who doesn't want $100? So here's how it goes. All you got to do is just make a comment of ETH to 10K. No, let's do this. Tomato coin to 10K. Today is going to be tomato coin to 10K. Just say tomato coin to 10K and put in your unstoppable domain .crypto in the comments section. So first of all, why is this important? Or why is unstoppable domains important? So this is how I see it. There's two things. And I'm not going to beat a dead horse because we talked about this yesterday, but back in the early 90s when the internet was coming around, when I was around, well, still around, people would buy up domains like it was going out of style. They'd buy up, streetwalk.com. They'd buy up johnsmith.com. They'd buy up casper.com or whatever they'd buy because they knew at some point businesses were going to need those domains. Businesses didn't really understand it, but some people did. And they snatched up a ton of them. So then later on, and my prime example is casper.com. Somebody bought casper.com like 9 years ago, and then they sold it to the betting company for like millions. So imagine spend like $20 on a domain at like GoDaddy, and then later on they're like, hey, we need that for like $2 million. Sure, I'll sell it. So the same thing's kind of going on with Unstoppable Domains. Their domains are .crypto. So like for me, I bought my own domain, which is danlikes.crypto, and that's all I use. So what's awesome like that is that I can use that as a domain, and I can also use that as a payment. So what's great, what they just announced a couple days ago, is that Coinbase is allowing, instead of using these long, like we talked about before, these long public addresses for your Bitcoin, for your Ethereum, for your XRP, for whatever cryptocurrency that you have, you can just use danlikes.crypto. And you can use that for payment. So if someone says, hey, pay me, in, I don't know, tomato coin, and send it to danlikes.crypto, then that's all I got to do. So like in Coinbase, so I'm going to show you yesterday's winner, matter of fact. So yesterday's winner was David. Well, this is them. This is Unstoppable Domains actually paying David Herbert. DavidHerbert.crypto. He just put it in the description, said ETH at 10K, which today is going to be tomato coin at 10K, and $100 to him just for doing that. And that's how easy it is. So imagine like, instead of putting in this long, super long public address for all these different ones, you could just put in one, which would be DavidHerbert.crypto, and that's it. And that's all you got to do. So when you sign up for Unstoppable Domains, you get your domain, fantastic. You click on the hamburger or the menu, whatever you want to call it, and you go to, where is it? My domains. So I already bought my domain. There's danlikes.crypto. I'm going to click on manage, and here's all my cryptocurrency address. I need to add in a Bitcoin, a Zilliqa, Litecoin, all that stuff. And I can select an additional one. So see like how I have my Ethereum address here? You need to win the $100, you have to have a Unstoppable Domains domain, like a .crypto, danlikes.crypto, tomatocoin.crypto, joeblow.crypto, whatever, potatofoot.crypto. So you just put that, you find your Ethereum address to wherever it is, and you can put a bunch of them in here. And also you can put any cryptocurrency in there. You can have a ton of them, right? That is essentially your wallet for everything. So instead of sending somebody like, here, pay me in Bitcoin, here's my Bitcoin address. Here, pay me in Ethereum, here's my Ethereum address. They can pay you whatever they want. They can pay you in Zilliqa, and it'll go to your Zilliqa wallet. They can pay you in Bitcoin, and it'll go to your Bitcoin wallet. So that's the big thing. If you have any questions about that, in the description of the video, it's going to say set up your domain, and it's just unstoppabledomains.com/features, and just follow the steps right there. It'll show you how to purchase the domain, to set up your wallet if you need more information, and it kind of is pretty smooth. So right now this works at Coinbase and Huobi. You can just put in danlikes.crypto and send whatever, but it also works with a lot of different very popular wallets like MyEther wallet, Atomic wallet, and a bunch of others. So just so you understand, that's how it all is. So put in there tomato coin to 10K, and Zaji will, from Unstoppable Domains, will actually pick the winner, and I'll announce it mañana. All right, that's it for today. So thanks for sticking with me. That was a little bit longer, but a lot of good stuff out there. So just so you know, I always want to give like random shout outs to all my subscribers or to all the people who have joined up. And there's a join now button underneath. It doesn't give you anything special, nothing special, like a tip, like $1.99. If you want to do that, sure, great. And these are all the people that do it. I appreciate them all. So like, shout out to the new ones: Bill Austin, Asui, Vasant Bun. I'm sure I crushed that one. Mark, Jess Zadra. Who else we got? Stephen Hewlett, Shauna's Life. That's a good one. Igor Pust. Davidson, Sam Rossman, winewomenwages.org, bam, David, and my man Medic's there. So yeah, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Now, if you like these types of videos, there's gonna be 2 more that's gonna pop up on your left and right. I don't know, because YouTube has total control of that. I don't control any of that stuff. Just like any kind of scam ads that you saw before, during, and after this video, I have no control of that. YouTube handles all of that, so complain to them. And that's it. So check out those videos, and see you on the next one.